So I've seen some people accusing the one and only white boy, Tom MacDonald, of being an industry plant. And I haven't seen too many people actually talk about it or go in grave detail about it, so I figured, why not do that? And just to get one thing clear, I am not a fan of Tom MacDonald in any way, but I am looking at this 100% unbiased. So without further ado, let's just jump into this. Now before we get started talking about Tom MacDonald, let me get one thing out of the way, and that is the definition of what an industry plant is for those who don't know. And of course, there's a lot of gray areas, a lot of people have their own definitions, but basically what an industry plant is an artist that gets signed to a major label or gets big industry connections extremely early in their career when they have a very little track record and next to no following. And their planting can be anything from just being shoved down the consumer's throats by having their very first song blow up and have amazing production, high quality music video, big established names in the industry hyping them up, very big collaborations early on in their career, and it can even go as far as to completely manufacture the artist's brand, tell them what kind of music to make, how to act, how to dress, make them get face tats. And there's some people that are like, okay, well, an artist like that is an industry plant, but if an artist signs to a label early in their career, but their image is organic, it's their own image, then they're not an industry plant. That's why you have people that will hate Jumex for being an industry plant, claiming that his entire image is fabricated, but yet they'll like Ian Dior because they believe that his image is organic. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go on to Tom MacDonald. Now there's a couple things that I have to get out of the way first. Number one, all of this is skeptical. I wasn't able to find any hard, concrete evidence pointing toward Tom MacDonald being an industry plant, so all of this is just skeptical. Number two, if Tom MacDonald is an industry plant, that would look very, very bad on his image, since him being an industry plant would be the exact opposite of his image. And number three, it wouldn't be that surprising if Tom MacDonald was an industry plant, because Tom MacDonald has a massive fan base at this point. He has a massive cult following, and he has mass appeal in his own lane. Now, yes, a lot of people hate him. Yes, a lot of people find him corny, and a lot of people think his music is dumb. But in his lane, that of people who he appeals to, he is very good at marketing himself toward those people. He's very good at marketing himself toward the very gullible teenagers and the older people that don't like rap, because he's kind of like this anti-rap icon, and he's very good at portraying himself as this lone wolf who's going against everything. And you know, if you're watching this video, you already know what Tom's music is like, so it really wouldn't be that out of place for him to be planted. Just keep that in mind. Now, what really, there's a few things that make me think he may be a plant, or maybe not a plant, just inauthentic, because of the mass hypocrisies in his music. And I'm going to get to the main thing in a minute, but I just want to get these out of the way that kind of make his whole credibility pretty shaky. How can we take your songs about mental health seriously, because he's made a few songs talking about his struggles with mental health? How can we take those seriously when you're going to release a song where you call every emo rapper fake and say that every emo rapper is faking their depression? How can we take your songs about drug abuse seriously when you relentlessly make fun of Mac Lethal for going through the exact same thing? Or how he's made multiple songs talking about how he just finds the hate stupid funny, the hate doesn't bother him, he doesn't care, yet he blocks people left and right on Twitter. My video on Tom MacDonald doesn't even have 100 views, and right after I uploaded that video, he blocked me on Twitter. If the hate didn't bother you, Tom, why would you be blocking people constantly like that? And then his song Buttholes, where the whole message is not getting mad and hating people for their opinions, yet he tried to have CDTV Productions album review taken down because it was, quote, slanderous and inaccurate. Newsflash, Tom. That's his opinion, and I thought we didn't get mad at people's opinions. So, you see, all these contradictions kind of make his credibility really shaky and really weakens the value of what he's saying. And, of course, you can say, okay, well, that means he may be an industry plant and his whole image is fake because of all these contradictions. Or he could just be inauthentic in general and will just say whatever to make his music somewhat more controversial. If that means changing his morals and shifting them slightly to make a more controversial track. Now I'll get into the real kicker. And I'll show you a screenshot of something he posted on his YouTube community page talking about his past and how poor he was. And that's another thing I want to keep in mind. Tom MacDonald is a lyrical rapper, yet he's given us very little about his past, which is something that you would think a lyrical rapper that has no problem with saying what's on his mind would do. You think we'd know all about his past and his upbringing and everything. When I didn't find out anything about his past until Mac Lethal started uncovering it and Tom's opened up a little bit. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Why hasn't he given us much information on his past? And I'll show you the screenshot and kind of talk about more in context about how poor he was in a minute. Okay, so as you can see, I have it pulled up now, and I'll go ahead and read this little part to you, and you can read along on the screen. 3 years ago, I was getting ready to pack it up. I was living in the hood, in a cockroach/mice-infested house. My ceiling was leaking and destroying my recording equipment. I was running extension cords from my neighbor's house so I could keep my fridge turned on when I couldn't afford the electric bill. Barely affording food and rent. It was super gnarly. Then I released Dear Rappers. 30 days later, my entire life had changed. And my thing is, so if you were so poor, how could you afford recording equipment if it kept getting ruined by your leaking ceiling? How could you afford to replace that if you couldn't even afford your electric bill or barely be able to eat? And I'll show you a clip of the music video, but how could you afford to have such a professional music video for Dear Rappers? Now, yes, it does look lower quality, it does look like a typical production of a smaller artist, but still, how would he be able to afford that level of quality if he was as poor as he says he was?
But now you teach me to drink, you teach me to smoke, you teach me to think every woman's a hoe. I don't want your Xanax bars or your fancy foreign cars. Throw your money in my face.
So as we can see, Tom MacDonald was so poor that he couldn't even afford the electric bill and had to steal his neighbor's electricity. But yet he could somehow afford to fork out the kind of cash to have this good of a music video. And he's done everything on his own. Now that could mean either he's over-exaggerating how poor he really was, or it's another thing. This is the second video of his that was filmed by Nova Rockefeller, his girlfriend. And this also kind of points to him being inauthentic when Mac Lethal said that Tom MacDonald had half of his songs ghostwritten by his girlfriend. Now again, there's no concrete evidence of that. It's kind of like Tom said this, Mac said this, so you really don't know what's true. But that would make sense because before Dear Rappers, before all that, his music was fairly just standard rap. And Dear Rappers is what started his whole woke, controversial, I hate mainstream, I hate the industry image that he has now. And before that, it was just, like I said, fairly standard music. And from what I can tell, Nova Rockefeller hasn't been that big of an artist either. I mean, she's been involved in music for a while, but she wasn't really that big or that poppin'. And of course, there's a lot of people that don't like the fact that Tom is dating a Rockefeller because of all the bullshit conspiracy about the Rockefellers being involved in the Illuminati or whatever. And then I've also heard people say that Rockefeller's not even her real name, it's her stage name. I don't really know and I don't really care. So, like I said, there's no concrete evidence of any of this, but do I think Tom MacDonald's an industry plant? No. Though I do feel that he's inauthentic, And a lot of people also think he might be an industry plant because of how he's blown up seemingly out of nowhere and seems to be everywhere. Well, I had never, a lot of people, the first track they heard by him was White Boy, but I'd never heard of Tom MacDonald until I'd gotten Everybody Hates Me as an ad. See, I think Tom just uses a really good strategy and really good marketing to just shove his music down your throat and overhype it and clickbait you into eventually checking it out. Because even his newest song, Music Industry, I've gotten it as an ad at least 4 times, so guess what? So that's 4 more views for the videos. So it's no wonder why it gets to 1 million views so quick when you're paying to have your song thrown around like you're throwing dollar bills around and you're throwing your song around as an ad. And you'll also spam the shit out of his music on Instagram and Facebook. Like, right before he releases a song, you go on his Instagram stories, it's like, "Sup guys, check out my new video dropping Friday. Hey guys, brand new music video dropping this Friday. Make sure y'all go check it out. Subscribe to the Hangover Gang newsletter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. What's up guys? Brand new video dropping this Friday. This is the biggest video I've ever made. This is the most important song I've ever made. Make sure you check it out." And he'll just spam it over and over. Same with Facebook. He'll post things like, "Oh, this rapper is breaking the internet." And he'll just clickbait and overhype him so much that it forces you to check him out. And then some people just stick around. So I really think that is how he's gotten so big. And I think Tom MacDonald just knows how to make a song that'll make people talk about it one way or another. He knows how to make he knows how to clickbait. He knows how to finesse himself and get himself out there. He's very good at that. So while I don't think he's an industry plant, because like I said, there's no concrete evidence. I do think he's inauthentic. And like I said, there's no concrete evidence of that either. I just happen to think that based on what I've seen. And it would make a lot of sense for the inconsistencies and how rapidly he shifted. And I think he's just playing all of his fans because he knows he can make these controversial songs, but not make them too controversial because he still wants people to listen to them. So I do think he is fake within his whole message. But I mean, at the end of the day, what I think doesn't really matter. If you like his music, that's all that really matters. If you like it and that's what you listen to, all I can say is just be aware of what you're supporting. And like I said, there's no concrete evidence of any of this. That's just what I think. So, like I said, I don't think Tom's an industry plant, though I do think that he is fake with a lot of what he says. And yeah, that about wraps it up for this video. I've got some other stuff coming your way. Another video idea. I'm actually working on an album right now. It's roughly half recorded. It's probably going to be around 12, 13 tracks, about the same as the last one. I'd really appreciate you guys checking out my new song, Pain. I dropped it about a week ago. And if you like the video, subscribe. If you have a different opinion, leave a comment. Maybe we can discuss this. And yeah, peace.